with so many changes coming to Walt Disney World when it reopens, will it be worth it to go right away when it opens, or should you wait and postpone your trip even further?
Yeah, there are a lot of things to consider. Like, there's a lot of things that are obviously being cut, but I think we might have some pros mixed in there. So this is actually really, really a good conversation to have, because Shane and I had a trip planned for May. We postponed it to September, and we're trying to decide if we want to go in September or if we want to push it out further. So maybe this will help us decide. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of cuts. The biggest thing, I think, that's really obvious is that there's not going to be any parades or fireworks.
Yeah, it's going to be a different state of the park's existence than we've ever seen before. And of course, we're just going to assume for this video that you don't really care about the virus. I guess. Right?
Yeah, all pandemic things aside, just focusing on the Disney changes, I guess.
Pandemic aside.
So much on, yeah, I mean, the parades and the fireworks more so, that's what really makes it feel like a Disney vacation, is ending your day with the fireworks behind the castle. So without it, it's definitely taking a lot of the magic away from it, and I feel like people might think that they're not getting their full experience or their full money's worth, because those are huge events that are integral to the vacations that are just they're gone.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there are just attractions that are going to be just completely cut, and the price of a daily admission is not going to go down at all. So you're just losing value for sure.
Yeah. Another thing that they're cutting is character meet and greets, which is pretty obvious. You don't want to hug somebody after characters have been hugged during this non-pandemic, because we're pretending that doesn't exist. But I'm not affected by this because I'm really not a big character meet and greet person, but I know a lot of families are. So for me, it's not really a factor at all. But what about you? Do you do character meets?
You know, I have a love-hate relationship with character meet and greets. Occasionally, like I did Beast at Be Our Guest, and he was super cool. Mm-hmm. He's very friendly and nice and warm and nice to hug. But,
yeah,
you know, it feels weird to get in a long line in the middle of Magic Kingdom to see one. I don't know. You know, it's very split. I'll see Mickey. I like seeing Mickey. But other ones, I usually don't feel like it's worth the wait to see them.
I don't think I've ever waited in line to meet Mickey Mouse.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Am I even a Disney fan? Like, what? Yeah, there's some character meets that are really, really worth your time, like Gaston. I'll never forget the time I met Gaston. He's amazing. But other ones, like, I don't know. It's just not a big thing for me.
Yeah, it feels a bit weird as an adult to meet them, I think. But, you know, that being said, 100% of the time I do it, it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think some people think like, oh, the actor is like so judging me right now for being an adult coming to hug them, but I really don't think they judge anybody. You never know who needs a hug, and adults need hugs too, you know? It's fun to just pretend and be in Fantasyland, but I don't know. It's just awkward because I don't know what to say to people regularly, let alone meeting a character.
Yeah, I usually go. I think of things to say to them in the line.
I try to do it, and then I get up there and I'm like flustered, like I'm giving a presentation at school. I don't know what it is.
Well, there's always like
stage fright.
10 cast members there too, judging you.
They're the ones that are judging you. Oh yeah.
Yeah. We did the garden grill breakfast, and that was much more laid back with the characters, and it was one of my favorite breakfasts. I love.
They were awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They just made it so easy because they had like a topic, which was the food, and we could talk about that in the restaurant and everything. But that was actually my next point I was going to bring up, is that regular character meets are cut. But buffets with like what are they called? Character dining. Those are probably going to be cut too, right? I mean, they have to be.
I think almost definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're all buffet style when they're a character meet. Well, that's not true, but most of them are. And buffets are going to have to be different because you can't be serving up and using the same spoon as everybody else.
Yeah.
And you're losing the characters. So definitely, if they don't change the prices on those restaurants, you're definitely not getting your money's worth. And they have to change the way that you're served too. So they must be switching to, if they keep these buffets open, they must be switching to like a family style buffet like Ohana and Garden Grill for places like Crystal Palace, where you usually get up and serve your own food. They'll probably bring it out to you, but there's also no Winnie the Pooh characters.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what they do with the prices of these buffets that will no longer have characters. If I can get into Garden Grill for like a discounted meal now, I'm gonna totally do it without characters. That would be amazing, I think.
Yeah.
It's a really cool restaurant on its own. Like, it spins around and looks out on Living with the Land. I love that restaurant. But this isn't the Garden Grill review, so let's move on.
So another thing, I'm thinking of large groups of people getting together. What about like stage and theater shows? Are they going to cut those completely, or do you think they'll have like social distance seating? How are they going to do that? Because there are so many of those at all the parks that you'd be losing out on even more value if they cut a lot of those.
I think they'll probably just have like every other seat available and just like sort of distance you out that way.
But yeah, things like Muppet Vision and Festival of the Lion King and the Finding Nemo stage show, those things are amazing for taking crowds out of like the park walkways and out of other rides, like a crowd absorber, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Festival of the Lion King, though, was always jammed every show. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
I wonder if they'll maybe add more show times to make up for it. But then, I mean, the employees, there's only so many employees.
Yeah.
Actors. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how they do that.
It just might be less people allowed in, and if you don't get in, you don't get in.
Yeah. Now, is Fantasmic considered a theater stage type performance, or is it a firework type performance? It's a nighttime spectacular.
If there's one thing I know, it's that it's a nighttime spectacular. I think Fantasmic could possibly come back for when it reopens.
It is such a huge area back there.
Yeah, it's a huge area and it's outdoors. So I think that I think that they could make that work if they wanted to. Oh. I would guess that they would bring it back. The more I think about it, it's so much space, and even if they have it 1/3 full, I think it's probably worth it.
Have you ever gotten Fastpass for Fantasmic?
Okay, it's the worst Fastpass you can get in all of Disney World, though.
Yeah, it's really bad. But here's the thing. They are cutting out Fastpasses.
Wow, amazing segue.
Did you like that segue? Wasn't that really good?
Unbelievable segue.
Yeah, I know.
So you can almost file this under pros. It's kind of like it might be a pro at the end of the day.
I definitely think it is. I think the Fastpass Plus system is pretty broken, and it just makes all the lines go a lot slower. If you've ever been to like a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party and there is no Fastpasses, the lines just keep moving, and that's the way that the lines should be. But when Fastpasses are going, it's just like everything feels so sluggish. So I really think that revamping, like using this opportunity to revamp the Fastpass Plus system and try it out without Fastpass and then maybe reintroduce something new would be a really good idea. I really want to go to Disney World where there's no Fastpasses.
Yeah, so it's kind of like interesting because I think when you Fastpass the full 3 Fastpasses and then maybe get 1 or 2 more during the day, I think you're going to ride the same amount of rides at the end of the day, but you'll have the really fast Fastpass waits that you have, and then like you'll wait in standby lines for a long time. And this way, without the Fastpass, it's just going to like sort of even it all out. So you're waiting like kind of an even amount of time for each ride. Well, okay, here's the other thing though. There might be virtual queues.
Yes.
Which, having that for every ride, they're doing that at Universal right now. And basically the rides just fill up immediately. And then if you're not there at open, you're just not riding those rides.
Yeah, like that's a good point. I think the idea of a virtual queue is a really good idea, But if you're not there at rope drop, you're going to miss out. So, like, what about the people that like to sleep in a little bit and enjoy their morning in the hotel and maybe start at the parks at 10 or 11? They're going to be screwed.
Yeah, and like, listen, I do rope drop usually, but a couple days every trip I just sleep in and like relax. And I think it's a vacation, like.
Because the other thing about virtual queues is that it's not sucking up people in the crowd to stand in line. They'll be able to tap their magic band and then walk away, and then all those people that are usually standing in a queue are now wandering around.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be in the walkways.
So, I don't know. I do want to try it and see what it's like.
Well, I think they're definitely
No
gonna
matter
do
how
it.
they do it.
I think they're definitely gonna do some virtual queues. Probably not for every
Yeah.
ride, but for the big ones.
Yeah. Even if the lines aren't absorbing a bunch of the crowds and everything, and there's no fast pass, overall there are still going to be lower crowds because they're not going to fill to capacity. I heard that they're going to do like 20 to 30% capacity. So that's a huge pro, is just lower crowds across the board.
Yeah, so this is like what interests me the most, as I would probably go on like a solo trip there if I were to do it this summer. I would just be able to like walk around a 20% full Magic Kingdom or Epcot and just like relax and enjoy the parks without many people being around.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and it sounds amazing.
Main Street, where you can actually see Main Street. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Cosmic Rays, not freaking jammed. I want to love Cosmic Rays, but it's always so crowded.
It's so hectic and loud in there. But I feel the same way. I just want to love it. And I want to be in there, especially because it's air conditioned.
I love Sunny Eclipse. There's great views of the castle on the other side of it, but it's always it's always like gross, like food and ketchup on the ground. Like it's, oh my God, the toppings bar is definitely gone. Say goodbye to that.
Yeah. Oh no. Pecos Bill toppings bar.
Yeah, Pecos Bill will never be the same.
Oh no.
I know.
All right, now I'm upset.
Maybe it'll be a good thing for Cosmic Ray, because...
Yeah, Cosmic Rays, I don't know what it is, but it just attracts a lot of families with little kids that are, like, super messy. And I guess it's just because there's
burgers
little
and
kid-friendly
fries,
food
yeah.
there, but maybe with lower crowds and social distance seating, because they'll probably have to remove some tables.
I would love to see it in there with, like, fewer tables, because there's just tables on tables there.
Yeah.
I would love to see it without as many tables in there. Spread out a little.
Same. So for quick service, where you can just go up, order your food, find a seat, they can remove tables and do social distancing there, but dining reservations, that's a really big sore spot right now because everybody's dining reservations have been canceled. But they're doing 60-day out reservations. So even though the reservations have been canceled, it's now everybody has a second chance at getting those reservations. So you have a good chance, if you didn't have one before, you now have the same chance as everybody else as getting those good reservations. So if you already had good reservations, it really stinks. But at least now you still have a second chance to get them.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're going to have to cut back on those reservations just so those restaurants aren't completely filled, but with lower crowds. And
so I think what they did is they had overbooked a bunch of the restaurants, right? They had too many reservations. And instead of picking and choosing who should get to stay, I think they just wanted to wipe them all out and give everyone a fair shot at rebooking them.
I think that's legit.
Which, I can't think of a better way to do it. It's a tough situation.
It's the most fair way. Yeah.
But for someone who, like me, is like super vigilant about getting their reservations for their trips, it hurt.
Yeah, I know. You spend so much time planning. You spend all that time planning your Fastpasses and your dining reservations.
Oh yeah,
making
Fastpasses
sure it's all
I had
good.
too. Gone.
And it's all out the window. And I mean, you can spin that positively and be like, well, I like doing that process, and now I just get to do it again.
I like doing it for new trips. I don't like redoing it for the same trip.
Exactly. It's like, I'd rather do it twice and go twice.
Yeah. But again, it might be cool to see like these reservations these restaurants with like 20% capacity. Like My favorite restaurant is Sci-Fi Dine-In. I can't wait to go there and see if it's super cool with like 20% people there, take a bunch of pictures of empty cars and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think it could be really cool.
You can get really good pictures without being like
I feel
disturbing people that are eating.
Feel like a huge creeper because that place is always full.
Here's the thing though, transportation is kind of a big issue. I never ever rent a car when I'm down there. I always just use Disney transportation. And let me tell you, when they run those buses, they fill them to absolute capacity.
Yeah.
And they cannot do that anymore. So I wonder if they're going to be running more buses so that you're not crammed in there. Or if you'll just have to wait longer for buses, and if they'll like encourage people to rent their own cars, or I wonder what they're going to do about that.
I don't know if they have more buses to run, or at least bus drivers to drive them.
That's true. I'll drive the bus.
They're going to have to
gotta learn the streets though.
Enlist the guests to drive buses.
Any volunteers?
Yeah, I would drive a bus back if I could cut the line. But that is going to be so tricky. Because those are so enclosed and tight quarters.
We're so reliant on them for our vacations. Like if there were no buses, we would not be able to do Disney the way that we do it. And especially, I don't know what the heck it is about the all-star resorts, but their buses are terrible. The fact that they have to share and just everything, the buses are terrible.
It's always like one of the worst parts of every trip, I think, is taking the buses.
Yeah. It's like fun the first couple times. You're like, oh, I'm going on the bus. I know I'm going to go somewhere fun. And then the fifth time, you're like, oh my God. I don't want to be out here in the sun. I don't want to be crammed with all these people.
Yeah, when you
somebody's going to fall asleep on my shoulder. Like,
oh. You're in the sun.
So, okay, if they're cutting crowd and capacity in the parks, maybe in restaurants, they're going to have to do it in the transportation systems. Hotels? Question mark? Are they going to cut capacity at the hotels and just leave a lot of rooms unsold? Because if that's the case, it wouldn't behoove them to cut the rates because they're losing out on so much money. But it would behoove them to cut the rates so that anybody will stay there.
Yeah, I think they may have trouble getting people to come the first couple of months. I don't think they would need to leave them unsold. Because, I don't think I would feel unsafe having somebody in the room next to me. But I think they might, to keep the common areas less busy, like the food courts and the gift shops and the buses, less packed. They might want to undersell the rooms so that those places don't get too crowded. Because, we're just talking about the All-Stars. Those cafeterias get totally mobbed.
Yeah. But they can't just have all of their rooms open, because then all of the people staying on property will expect to be able to get into the parks.
Yeah.
And if there's lower capacity in the parks and they have to turn away hotel guests, they're going to have a lot of angry guests.
Yeah, well, I would think that if you have a hotel reservation, they're going to guarantee you entry into some park. Hopefully I'm hoping that you can just, when you book the hotel, you'll choose which parks you want to go on which days of the hotel or something like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because, yeah, like you said, if you get turned away after buying a hotel room and tickets, like, there are going to be some upset people.
Yeah.
Me included.
Yeah, that's not okay. So, I don't know. I think they'll have to cut capacity. But, yeah, it's not a matter of, like, rooms being filled next to each other. It's just like we can't fill all the rooms because we can't accommodate all those people in our parks. So I don't know. I would really like to see them cut the rates of the hotels. Obviously.
Wow.
But I don't know.
That's a bold stance, Amy.
I know. I just don't know if they would, or if it's more like, if you have a hotel room, you're guaranteed entrance into the park. So pay the premium to stay at the hotel so that you're guaranteed to get in. Yeah. I really don't know if they'll be cheaper for the inconvenience of everything or more expensive, or if it'll just kind of stay the same and capacity will be lower. I don't know.
I think a lot of it'll come down to like the demand of how many people are willing to book and go right now anyway.
That's true. But let me tell you, if I'm going to Disney World and I'm missing out on all these things that are normally offered, the parades, the fireworks, the buffets, Fastpass, which honestly I don't care about Fastpass, any stage or theater shows, any dining. I don't want to also stay at a value resort and have that vacation. Like, I would much rather stay at a nicer resort.
Yeah.
And just change the way that I vacation, spend maybe a little less time in the parks, more time in that hotel.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a good time for Animal Kingdom Lodge, huh?
Oh God. Oh my God. Don't even say that.
Could be.
All right. I have to talk to Shane. So goodbye. This was our video.
Good episode.
It's been great. Bye. No, but so overall, is it going to be worth it?
To loop back around, I think there are ways that you can justify it being worth it just to hang out in the park with less crowds. I wouldn't with a family.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go for your first time with the parks in this state. I think for returning people, it's just up to you and how important those things are to you.
Yeah, like if this is your vacation that you do every 5 years with your family, do not go during this time. I would wait at least a year and see how that goes. But if you go pretty often, like Zach and I do, at least once a year, and this is kind of just another vacation for you, you can kind of view this as an opportunity to just vacation a little bit differently, take things a little bit slower, maybe take in the ambiance of things instead of trying to get in as many rides as you possibly can. It's just going to be a different style of vacation. But I think for those of us that go pretty often, I think it'll still be worth it as long as they don't raise prices, and I don't know why they would. If they cut prices, obviously that's excellent, and they should, since not everything is going to be offered. But they are a business. They're in it for profit, so...
Yeah. If you do go, try and take advantage of there being fewer people around and just, like, enjoy the scenery and relax.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it'll probably never be like this ever again.
Once in a lifetime, hopefully.
Plus, you can get all those photos with your cute Disney mask.
Yay.
So those are our thoughts on whether we think Disney World will be worth going to during all of these temporary changes or permanent changes. Who knows? We'll see. What do you guys think? Do you think you're going to go during this time, or are you going to postpone your trip? Do you think it'll be worth your time, worth your money?
I think I want to go for like a weekend to see what it's like. But I don't know if I would go for a whole week. It might be too much for a whole week to wear a mask that whole time. It's still going to be Disney World. It's still going to be fun. The food is going to be all there.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to tap your magic band to the like button, and please consider subscribing if you like videos such as this one and anything and everything Walt Disney World.
We will see you guys real soon.
Real soon. Wearing masks and staying socially distant.
Very
Bye.
safe. Bye. They find a way to get rid of mosquitoes, so...
Oh my God, how do they do that?
I don't know.
DEET?
Just a cloud of it every night.
That Disney World smell that you think is so good. They call it churros, but actually...
Why do you think it rains at 3 o'clock every day?
Oh my God, Zach, that's terrible.
The DEET cloud's rolling in.
Did you hear it? Uh-huh. He got me. I probably look like bacon. I got my bacon expression. Dude barks at me. Hell yeah, we do, kid. Hell yeah.